Good morning. Good day. Hey, good day. What day is it, right? It's Monday. What? Oh my gosh, I don't even know the date. It's the 13th. 4/13, that's April, right? Just finished Easter yesterday. Wasn't it good? And now it's back to work. But I thought I would start this new week with a video on how to draw some plates. Why? Well, I was reading this week the Preach My Gospel, and even though it's King Benjamin on the tower, and I thought maybe I should talk about how to draw a tower. But then I read early on in the scriptures how they made reference to the plates of brass and how they had all this great knowledge that had been passed on to them, and how they really valued that, and how I think it says there's no way we could have remembered all these things if we didn't have them written down, and that's very true. If we don't write things down, I was I was even in the pantry yesterday looking for a cast iron skillet, and I just said, why can't I just write these things down? And I thought about maybe telling Alexa to remember where I put the cast iron skillet, but so yeah, we don't remember these things if we don't write them down. So I think it's really important. The but as I was thinking about the brass plates, we talk so much about the gold plates, and the brass plates kind of fall away, and we don't always value them the same way. And we know that they were it's basically the Old Testament, right? Most of it, and it had a genealogy of their fathers. And what was interesting to me was to just think about all the records of the plates that have been passed on. And we know there's actually this really cool story. I don't know if you guys have heard this one before. There's this neat story. It's actually recorded in the Journal of Discourses. And Brigham Young gave a discourse, and he spoke of the time that Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery had been told to take the plates back. And I'm actually not even sure I think they were taking back the gold plates to the hill Cumorah. And when they went there, the angel met them and then took them into this large cave. And inside this cave were all these records. He says, pant loads. Not pant loads. I'm thinking of Dragons Love Tacos. I love that book. Truckloads of wheelbarrow, like cartloads of plates just stacked everywhere in the corners, under the table, and on the wall was the sword of Laban, and it said, he said, I'm going to quote this for you actually because it's kind of a neat statement. This sword will never be sheathed again until the kingdoms of this world become the kingdom of our God and Christ. Isn't that cool? So I thought, you know what? Let's draw some cool plates, and so I'm drawing digitally. You guys can draw on your iPads, on paper. If you've got a cool setup like this, I'm actually drawing on my Wacom Cintiq monitor. I really love it. But I'm going to. It's a little bit about perspective. We want to keep our plates in perspective. What does that mean? Well, that just means we just have some vanishing points, right? So if I had a vanishing point here and here, right, they're on the same horizon line, or aren't they? Yep, a little bit lower. And if I were to then draw out some lines coming from here, right, and then some lines coming from this direction, as best as straight as I can, that creates sort of a grid. And on that grid, we can build, buildings or boxes and cubes and things like that. And things like plates, right? Because plates are a box. There we go. So there's maybe a block for some plates. Now, I'm thinking this might be actually okay. I could probably just come up here and around, and kind of goes back and behind. I've always noticed these plates have the way other people have artistically rendered them. kind of go big looping things back. But I actually found some cool reference of some plates that had different kinds of hooks, right? The things that hold the plates together, the rings. And so I'm going to try and do something maybe a little different than we haven't seen before. And also, I'm going to try and draw my plates like I'm looking on top of them. I did that wrong. Made a mistake. That's right, I have an eraser here. There we go. Mistakes are okay. So let's draw this way. Now, you don't always have to draw your grid for your perspective. I actually, the more practice you get, the better you get at just kind of imagining, because most of the time those points are going to be way outside your page. And because of that, it's like, well, am I going to have a really big piece of paper, or am I just going to kind of estimate, right? Do a little guesstimate about where that vanishing point is. And you can see if I were to extend all these lines, they would eventually converge to a point, right? Same thing here. Eventually they converge. So as long as you're getting close, it's going to feel pretty good. I don't think you're going to be in too much trouble. All right, so here's my plates. Now, so I'm going to put the rings on this side because I think that way we get a better view of them. I just sort of saw some cool designs of like actual plates from ancient scriptures. So here's one I found right here. I mean, look at that, all right? I think that's pretty cool. That's a different kind of ring setup that I haven't seen before. So let's kind of try something of our own, right? Be a little bit more inventive. We can do that, right? So what happened was the ring came out. So this part was pretty standard. I'm going to do this on a new layer because I can. If you can't do it on a new layer, just do it real lightly so that you can always erase if you need to. And so this page is going to go down. And then once it gets to the bottom here, it's almost like it went out this way and it did a really cool design. Alright, so we can kind of do a neat design like that. There we go. And then we'll kind of continue underneath as well, because those rings do have to go all the way over, right? Down here. We'll kind of come over here. And now I'm gonna imagine that what this is making is a little tree of life right here. Ah, that's a good idea. See, sometimes these ideas you just gotta let it come to you. So this one, this kind of looked like a little tree or something coming out. So what if that was a tree? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna try. There's a little trick I sometimes like to do where I make the line really thick, right? And that becomes the thickness of the actual ring. And then I'm going to erase out right in the middle. And that will kind of look like a rod or a metal rod. Here we go. That goes underneath there. Bring that down. There we go. Now let's get my eraser. I got some smoothing options there. I like smoothing. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can get a little closer. What kind of eraser do I got? Let's use this eraser. Right there. Make it just right size. So you could do this. You could draw kind of a thicker line with your pencil. And then you just kind of come in right down the middle after with the end of your eraser. If you have one of those kneaded erasers, you can make them just the size that you need. Sometimes that happens. That's why I like computers, because you have Control Z. You just undo. You know, wish you had that in life sometimes. Undo. That's called the atonement. Sorry, that was dumb humor. It was like bad seminary teacher humor. Then I might go back and just sort of reinforce those lines a little bit. But I thought that worked out pretty good. That wasn't too bad of an idea, I think, for creating my rings. Now let's go ahead and make these plates. You can use rulers if you want to make these a little straighter. I think it's kind of fun to have some a little uneven, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. I kind of feel like my rings, the holes for my plates are little. What's the word? Like really deep in there. Are those plates gonna turn? I don't know. Maybe I need to move them back just a little bit, or maybe I need to bring these guys over a little bit. See, it's okay to make adjustments. Even there's this. If you guys don't know, I work in film and make movies for animation, and one of the things we always say is you don't know you're wrong until you've made a mistake, right? So you can't always know how to fix something until you've made it wrong. That looks a little better. That way we're closer. The holes need to line up right about there. Gonna make forgot my technique here. Just remember that technique. Ooh. And now we'll go back and erase. Now let's tighten up the line. There we go. I like that. That was a good look. I'm just not satisfied with that one. Nope. So I'm going to take this one right there. We're going to duplicate it. Just bring it on over. Shrink it, make it a little bigger. Make it a little bigger. There we go. There's my rings. Okay, now I'm going to take this and do a little bit of edging here. Hello, computer, wake up. Oh, I hit my flow down to 1. There we go. A little bit of unevenness there, as if those plates got banged up and dented over time. That's why they made them out of metal, so that they would last. And then here's my bottom plates, or my backside. Go over here. Now let's do some lines, kind of just showing it. I'm going to do these lines a little bit thinner, right? Because I don't want them to stand out as much as my outer lines. So this is I'll have to do a lesson sometime on line weights. That's how we talk about the thicknesses of our lines, right? How lines of different thickness have different meaning when we're drawing. Do that. Come raise that side up a little bit. You can go ahead and merge all these. There we go. Now we're going to come across here and do these ones. So when you're doing these long lines going from one spot to another, I like to look kind of where I'm headed. I don't look at where my pen is all the time. I actually look at where I want my pen to go. So even though my pencil's here, I'm going to be looking down there. and that way it kind of keeps me in line. And it's surprising. It kind of feels like you're drawing blind for a second, but your brain does a pretty amazing job at knowing where to go. One more down here. There we go. Alright, so now we need to do some writing on these plates. And because plates were pretty expensive and took a lot of effort to make, I don't think they would make, well, sometimes they probably make a cover page. I don't know, what do you think? Would you make a cover page or would you just start writing? Now, I would do this first in a pretty light pencil and then kind of go over a little bit darker. I might do it on a different layer even. So we're going to do some different little writing here. There's my reformed Egyptian, right? My guess is they wouldn't really waste any plates. They'd be like, nope, this is important information. I'm not going to just waste a whole plate with, 5 words. The brass plates, that's 3 words. Looks like I'm doing okay. And that might be my last line here. I'm just making a little chicken scratch, really. I just invented a new language. I'm happy with it, so I'll just go ahead and keep that layer. Alright, let's see. How are we doing with our plates here? Let's zoom out and take a look. That's looking pretty sweet. I'm pretty happy with my plates and my funky little tree of life design, huh? How's that? So now you can I sometimes just take an eraser if I want to lighten it up. I'm going to rotate this so I can get a better angle. And then you can just kind of darken up those lines. This will really help your drawing pop. Smoothing out the lines. I'm always telling my daughters, like, hey, draw pencil first, and then you can come back and with your markers and do whatever you need to. They don't always like that. Like, no, Dad, I just want to go straight to markers. But every good drawing or art project, any project really, needs a good plan, and that pencil is your plan. So I was thinking a little bit about, King Benjamin saying, telling his people, you gotta come prepared to receive the word. And as I thought about those, I thought about just what we just went through, with COVID, and how the prophet asked everybody to fast. And not only, we didn't just fast once before conference, we also fasted again, kind of as a worldwide fast, but that fast right leading up to conference, I thought that was really cool. That felt a lot like King Benjamin saying, hey guys, and I don't think in the Book of Mormon he says anything about fasting, but he does say, prepare yourselves to come and listen, because I have some things. I've got things I got to tell you, right? And I think that was sort of what it was for conference this time. It was just, guys, it's going to be very special, and if you're prepared, it will be more special. And it was definitely special with the Hosanna shout and all the cool things that were this special, very unique conference that it was. And young people speaking, never seen that before. I'm going to erase out some of these other lines there, don't need those. I don't mind some of them remaining a little bit. There we go. Cool, so there's some plates. I'm going to move them on over. Maybe you want to add a little more details, like maybe there's a little table that they're sitting on. Maybe that table, maybe there's a little tablecloth coming off of it. this way. You could even start to put some other plates back here, right? Like we talked about that room full of plates. I mean, how cool would that be to see? I want to see that room, that cave of wonders. Maybe some plates over here. Oh, maybe there's a little Liahona right here. Let's kind of roughly sketch these ones in. Do I dare put the sword of Laban? I'll put some like other artifacts out here. Maybe there's someone else's sword and a shield back there on the ground. Yeah. Just have fun with it, right? Right here we can have some writing utensils. I'm just kind of sketching some ideas. There we go. There's your plates. So make some plates, you guys. And then maybe we should write our own journals. What do you guys think about that? Our bishop in our area asked us to, write down your impressions and thoughts from this last conference and these last couple of weekends, because these are special times. These are things that you're gonna forget, right? And just like Mosiah said, it's a good thing we had these plates, otherwise we wouldn't remember everything. So let's write stuff down. I think that's a good idea. I'm going to try and do that. Or draw it down, right? If you draw down your ideas and your thoughts, that's a good way to go too. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll catch you later.